The sky turned black, not from clouds, but from wings. Millions of locusts descended like a living nightmare, devouring everything in sight. Crops, trees, even hope. In one single night, they turned life into dust. This isn't a movie. This is what I lived through. A story of survival, fear, and loss. This is the locust invasion. I was just 7 years old when the sky changed color, not from a storm or sunset, but from something much darker, something alive. It was a peaceful afternoon, the kind of day when children chase kites and mothers hang laundry in the sun. I was playing near the fields with my cousins when we first noticed a strange humming sound, a distant vibration in the air. Birds flew away in a frenzy. The cattle grew restless, and then the sky turned black. At first, we thought it was smoke, but as it came closer, jaws dropped in horror. It was not smoke, it was wings, millions of them, locusts, a living, crawling, flying nightmare. The swarm was so thick that sunlight could barely touch the ground. The creatures flew in from the horizon like an unstoppable army, blotting out everything in their path. We ran. I held my cousin's hand tightly as we rushed back toward the village, screaming. Our elders shouted warnings. Mothers grabbed their children. Men tried to drive the locusts away with sticks and smoke, but it was useless. The swarm was too large, too wild, too hungry. They came down like a curse on our fields. Wheat, corn, vegetables, fruit trees. Everything was devoured. Within minutes, green turned to brown. Leaves vanished. Crops fell. Even the wooden fences were chewed upon. The locusts didn't just eat. They destroyed. I remember standing by the window of our house, looking out in disbelief. Our land, our life, was being erased in real time. My father locked the doors. My mother sealed the windows with cloth. We crouched together in a corner, hearing the buzzing outside like the whisper of death. That night, nobody slept. You could hear them crawling on the roof. Their wings brushed against the glass like dry leaves in a storm. Even inside the house, I could still see one or two flying through cracks, landing on our food, our clothes. I remember clutching my blanket, thinking, will we still have a farm tomorrow? Will we have anything at all? In the morning, everything had changed. The air was quiet, eerily so. We stepped outside, and what we saw broke our hearts. The sun rose on a silent, haunted land. I remember stepping out with my father that morning. The cool air carried the smell of crushed leaves and damp soil, but also something else, death. The fields, once rich and green, were now flat, brown, and motionless. No birds sang, no crickets chirped, just silence, and the crunch of dead locusts beneath our shoes. They were everywhere. Their broken bodies littered the ground like the aftermath of a battlefield, inside our water pots, on our clothesline, in the corners of our windows. Walls were smeared with their wings. Some were still twitching weakly in the dirt, as if nature itself was ashamed of what it had unleashed. I looked across the farmland. It was unrecognizable. Not a single crop had survived. Trees stood like skeletons, bare and bruised. Our vegetable garden was flattened. Even the haystacks were gone. Our chickens had no feed, the cows no grass. It was as if life itself had been erased in one night. I turned to my father. The strongest man I knew was crying. I had never seen him cry before. He knelt down, scooping dry, empty soil into his hands. It fell like powder. All his hard work, all his plans for the season, gone. Villagers gathered in the streets. Some prayed, some screamed, some just sat silently on the ground, staring into space. It felt like war had passed through, but there had been no soldiers, no weapons, no warnings, just wings. Government officials arrived days later. They gave words, papers, and promises. But what could they give back? How do you compensate for lost food, lost income, lost dignity? One old man in our village whispered, "This wasn't just a swarm. It was a punishment." I didn't know if it was divine or natural, but I knew this. It was unforgettable. Days passed. Weeks. Hunger began to set in. We started skipping meals, selling furniture, borrowing from neighbors who had nothing themselves. Children cried at night, not from fear anymore, but from empty stomachs. Even school stopped. What was there to learn when our world had come undone? But in the ashes of disaster, something else quietly bloomed. Solidarity. Our village came together in ways I had never seen. Neighbors shared the little food they had. Women gathered to cook meals for the elderly. Men helped each other repair broken sheds. And slowly, like the first green leaf after a forest fire, hope began to return. We learned to plant again, to water every inch of soil with patience, to wait. It took months before we saw the first green shoots return. I remember the joy on my father's face when he spotted the first tiny stem of wheat breaking through the dirt. We had survived. Not just the locusts, but the emptiness they left behind. Sometimes the enemy doesn't roar, it buzzes. Sometimes the battle isn't fought with guns, but with courage, patience, and unity. The locusts came. They took everything, but they couldn't take our spirit. Share this story, because someone, somewhere may need hope today.